Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Leslie Watkins. I hope I have all my technical difficulties worked out now. Let me know if you can see and hear me all right. Today we're going to be painting dahlias. So here they are. Beautiful dahlias from my friend Kathy. So thank you so much, Kathy. They are amazing. So these are the same bouquets that we were working with at the pop-up shop for the different watercolor classes, and they're still going strong. I cleaned up the flowers, got rid of the ones that were had gone by, and we're good to go. And it's been a little while since I've worked in my watercolor sketchbook, so I thought that would be a good opportunity to work there today. So I'm going to put the camera down to my surface here, and you can see I have my basic palette, and there is the yellow, the red, and the blue. Can you see that? I'll get that under the camera. There we go. Okay, so I'm just using the three colors. This yellow over here is just the same as the yellow in this corner. I just have it in two places to make it a little bit easier to mix my greens. And I have this beautiful dahlia that I thought would make a nice subject. And then in the bouquet, I'm not sure if you can see, I've got these wonderful buds. These kind of crazy, can you see this one? Has this sort of a zigzaggy stem, and it's really fun. And all sorts of sort of wonderful, what are these things? Sepals? I think they're called sepals. And look at this one, can you see this one? That's just opening up, and they're just the stamens poking out of the bud. So lots of beautiful interest on these dahlias, and of course the colors are just fantastic. I have one of the kind of the orangey ones there. So let's get a page in the book and we'll get started. Checking to see if everybody can see and hear me, so please put a comment in the comment section and let me know. It looks okay from my end, and there's Ginger. Hi Ginger. So let me know if you can hear me okay. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. So this book is getting kind of filled up, but I noticed that I had a page. So here's some apples that I did last year. This book is a book that I pull out each year in the various seasons. So here you can see there's a pear, and we've just finished collecting all of the last pears off the trees. So that tells me that this will be a perfect page for doing the dahlias. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to put down some paper towels to protect the area that I'm not going to be working on. So I'm going to put that there like so, and then I want to set this up so that you can see what I'm doing. That looks pretty good. And Ginger says it sounds good. Thank you, Ginger. And I have a couple of brushes here. So I've got a number 7 and a number 4. And I thought what I would do would just do a very loose kind of a corner design. And what I'm particularly interested in doing is capturing some of these crazy looking buds and the stems. And I'm going to take my pencil Bring this down a tiny bit so it's closer to me. And I'm actually, let's move these flowers around a little bit. I really want to get this beautiful, this one. I love this color. So I want to move this so I can get that in the picture better. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm not sketching to do a careful representation of the subject. I'm just wanting to get it placed on the page. So I'm just designing is all I'm doing here. And to do that, I just need to add a couple of lines just to guide me as I paint. And these stems really are wonderful. I'll put another one here. This beautiful bud. We're not going to have too many dahlias left this year. This may be the end of the dahlias. We're already into October now. Okay. So that gives me an idea. Now I know you can't see that very well, but just bear with me for just a minute. You're going to be able to see something. I'm going to begin with my biggest shapes first. So I want to get my beautiful orange toned dahlia set up. There we go. And then the one of these buds has a lot of green, a yellow green in it. So I'm just going to indicate that. And by the way, this is a round brush, a round watercolor brush, and I can use the shape of the brush to paint the shapes of these petals and leaves very quickly. So when you want to get a nice sketch started, you want to work as fast as you can for a number of reasons. You want to be able, now I'm using dry paper here, so if it were wet, I'd have a little more time to kind of move things around, but I'm just doing a quick sketch. I'm using the brush as if it were a pencil. And then I have this beautiful dahlia. Just going to get that started with my rose color. A few of these petals poking out from behind. And some of them have a little more warmth in them, so I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. So I think you can start to see something happening here. And I've got another stem coming up here with a bud that's just starting to open. Another one next to it. And then in here, just going to get these petals kind of radiating out from the center of this beautiful This is kind of a white dahlia that has these outer petals that have like a rose-colored border on them. Very pretty. All right, and then finally over here, I have another dahlia that's sort of looking downwards, so I'm paying attention to where the center of these flowers are and being careful to sketch the petals as they emerge from that central point. So if you're starting with a little pencil sketch, or if you're doing a monochromatic study, which is a great thing to always do, while you're doing that, you can also start thinking about where is the center of the flowers, where is the main axis, because that's going to help you to get everything situated. All right, now I also have these beautiful, brilliant orange stamens. So I want to get those situated before I go any further. So there's one here, and then I've got this clump that's sticking out of that bud. I love that. Can use the same color over here. Start to get some of the texture of that beautiful dahlia. Okay, so that is my basic composition, sort of the underpainting laid in. And got a little paint on my hand here. Just blot that away. All right. And I just want to indicate a little bit of the shadow areas on these buds. And I'm using the tip of my brush now to get some of these beautiful pleats that I can see in this little bud that's beginning to open up. All right, so just a few strokes. Things are beginning to happen. I'm hoping that these buds will open over the next few days, and I'll have another bouquet ready to go. We'll see how they do. Okay, I'm going to switch now to my slightly smaller brush, and I'm going to pay some attention to the shapes of the petals and the direction that they're growing in, so giving them a little more of a careful look. And I'm not trying to copy what I see. I'm more interested in giving the impression. I want to keep this as a quick study, and try to keep some of the spontaneity of the watercolor paint, so that it doesn't look overworked and overdone. So just a quick impression. This is a great way to start your day if you have a place that you like to have your coffee in the morning, and you have your watercolors nearby, and you can do these quick little, have a nice sketchbook. And so this book's a little bit bigger. You don't have to paint this big. Just get a little sketchbook that you can do some thumbnails in, and get loose, get fluid, get loose. And the way you do that is just by doing a lot of different paintings whenever you can. I've got a dark area in here, and that sort of comes around this bud. And by the way, that's not to say that there isn't a time and a place for a much more careful painting. And being able to take the time to really dig in deep and understand your subject. Absolutely. But for the sake of these little videos that I do for you on Watercolor Wednesday, I just like to keep them quick and easy, to encourage you to get out your paints and do the same thing. Right now I want to get this beautiful, very pale little edging on some of these petals. So I'm going to take this one back here. This little green bud in the front here is so plump it almost looks like a little pumpkin. Now last week when I was painting that apple monochromatically, I talked a lot about value, and even though this is a color study, value is still extremely important. So you can break it down into 3 steps: your lights, your middle tones, and your darks. And think about that as your picture is developing. With watercolor, we tend to work from light to dark, and using the white of the paper for our lightest lights. And at this point, with this picture, I've got most of my light areas established, and now as I develop the drawing and the design, I'm starting to move from my middle tones and beginning to introduce some of my darks as well. But you don't have to do it all at once. Just take your time. I want you to paint quickly, but I don't want you to paint without thinking about what you're doing. So as I work, I'm paying attention to all these tones, the lights, the middles, and the darks, and I'm kind of working out of an average. So I'm sort of estimating where are my lightest lights, where are my middle tones, where are my darkest darks, and then as the picture progresses, I refine those, make any changes that may need to be made. But if you work from light to dark, if you do need to make some adjustments along the way, it'll be much easier to make those corrections. Now, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them into the comments. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to take a look and see if I can answer any questions for anybody. I also want to let you know that I have opened up the watercolor paint box starter kit now to everybody. And I have a few left. And this is the special deluxe edition that features the branding of the Dandelion Cottage design. So the gold tone paint box. And this is the starter kit. So it includes a beautiful travel kit with a brush. It has the 3 primaries that you see me using here to get you started, and some paper, various accessories, and some goodies. And you can find out more about that on my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com. And I'll also be sending out an email announcement soon. And if you'd like to get on the list for notes from Dandelion Cottage, I recommend that you do that, because there are a lot of specials and information that I just share with the people that subscribe to my list. So if that sounds like you'd like to learn more about the classes, the events, the workshops, and all the specials coming up with the watercolor paint box, then please do sign up for notes from Dandelion Cottage, and you'll get a little bit of a heads up before some of these things become available to the public. All right, so I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking so far. Now, there are a couple of areas that have some nice dark accents, like this stem that's going deep into under the flower here, so I can make that a little bit darker. There's a little bit of a shadow behind here and here. This beautiful stem. And this bud needs some attention, so let me give it a couple of extra details. There we go. And then down under here, I can see an indication of some leaves. as the watercolor dries, the darks may appear lighter than what you originally intended, and so you may want to go back, as I'm doing now, and just increase that value a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to put a couple more strokes on this flower that's just starting to open up here. I'm going to call this done for today. And I want to remind you that the October watercolor paint box is now open, and if you'd like to join with us in the October lesson, I'm going to be talking to you much more about value and monochromatic studies and thumbnails and how you can use them to map out your larger compositions. And if you subscribe to the watercolor paint box, you'll also get a tube of paint and practice paper and enough materials to create 4 hand-painted watercolor note cards. So again, all that information is on my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com, so check that out. And if you have any questions, just please send me a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I do want to get this beautiful dark shadowy area in here that surrounds this bud. And I just want to make sure that that reads correctly. And then I have this leaf that's sort of, the tip of it is coming out through there. Okay. All right. Well, that'll do it for today. I may work on this a little while longer, but I think you get the idea. I hope that you will also be inspired to do some quick watercolor studies. And if you join me in the watercolor and paper crafting private group, just look for Stampin' Up! Watercolor and paper crafting projects. I will let you into the group, and if you'd like to share some of your paintings with everybody else, we'd love to see them. So please check that out. I'll be back tomorrow for Paper Crafting Thursday. Hopefully now we'll be back on the regular schedule, so every Wednesday and Thursday at 12 noon. Wednesday Watercolor Wednesday and Thursday Paper Crafting Thursday. I'll be here with a special project. I hope to see you there. Until then, please stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I'll see you next time.